have become promiscuous. So not promiscuous in that way, but promiscuous in the sense that we will go with anybody who can provide us with the right product and service if we have a choice. So
Yeah,
things that were the bedrock of the past, you know, standardization, commonality, customers having very predictable behaviors, well, they've gone out the window a while ago. So that's why we end up with this big bad mess where organizations have tried to overlay onto that structure all these different, well, if customers are going to be promiscuous and move about with different products, I've got to, you know, I've got to have the capacity to be able to deal with that. So contrast that with the simplicity of this slide, which is the whole essence of what I believe in terms of really successful customer experience, customer service is all about. Really understand who your customer is and identify not what, you know, where they're living and why they're living and what the mean income is and all that sort of stuff, but figure out what their real needs are. And when we start to think about categorization by need, it emerges us with a whole different way of thinking about how we might deliver against those needs. Only when we understand our customers and their needs should we then set about developing services and products to deliver against it. And of course, which model is working best? Well, this one, it wins hands down because it's aligning the organization to something Amazon referred to the North Star. It's North Star alignment. It's the whole organization can see where they should be looking and continually moving in that direction. So it's not just people, it's our IT systems, it's our infrastructure, it's our political systems and so on. It's about North Star alignment. And this sort of modeling where we're, as I said, Bezos refers to it as working backwards, but the first person who coined this whole idea of outside in was Steve Jobs. I think we've all known of Steve Jobs, haven't we? And he said, you've got to start with the customer experience and work backwards to the technology, not the other way around. Does that make sense? So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good,
Definitely.
good.
And I had a lot of friends also, they are working in Amazon. And when I asked them, what is the strategy there, or what is the way that you're thinking about the customer service? He replied to me with only one statement, and it was a powerful statement. The statement was, start from the customer and backward.
Yeah.
And that was amazing for me, because everything this is the real customer centric service, because the customer now is the center for each and everything that we are doing. And this is exactly what you're saying right now.
Yeah, and it's so true, because if you think about, if we could figure out who our customer is and what their real needs are, and oftentimes, again, figuring out their needs before they actually have them, then we're going to be in a better place. And I recall when where Bezos tells this story about how they started working backwards. One of the things he had to do back at the time was issue what became known as the Bezos mandate, and it was instructions for how the technology guys should do their work. So it wasn't to do it in the way they'd always done it in the past. Look, you will adhere to these precepts and principles, and if you don't, you're probably not worthwhile working here at Amazon anymore, because this is the way we're going to do it. So it does require, a leadership to have both the sense of direction and the ability to bring other people with you. But given that, as we get into this, you'll see that it's all numbers oriented. There's no reason why you can't justify working backwards or going outside in. So in that sort of context, the customer experience thing is top of everybody's agenda. We know research groups like Gartner and Forrester and those guys, the articles in Forbes and places like that, we're all talking about the importance of it. But I often see organizations trying to do CX as if it's another department. They're trying to do customer service as if it's another department. It isn't. Customers have always had experiences. It's only in the last few years that we've started to get scientific about how we understand those experiences and how we can deploy them in a meaningful way. So this all sounds good and proper. So what's getting in the way of delivering it? Well, it's this structure. It's our functional specialist silo structure. And everywhere I go on the world, before, 2019, I did 400,000 air miles. So everywhere I go on the planet and I say, can I see how you're structured? Invariably, it's going to be a chart that looks like this. Now, the interesting thing is this chart doesn't physically exist. It's not like a chair or a table. It's a collective hallucination, but it bounds the way we think about the work that we do. Right, so I'll just let that sink in, Matrix-like. It's a collective hallucination. It's not real. And yet it bounds our lives and our careers and the way we think about what we want to do and how we want to do it. So why is it wrong? Well, it was designed again with this idea that there are functional specialists, as we see there, sales, operations, customer service, and so on. And these people have unique sets of skills, and they're also driven by key performance indicators, which are appropriate to the work that they're doing. And think about that. It's appropriate to the outputs they're achieving. So of course, in call centers, we all know average handle time, abandon rates, sort of delayed work, and all those sort of metrics that we have around the place. They're all measures of doing things. Well, wouldn't it be cool if we had measures in customer experience centers of the outcomes we were delivering? Well, this structure, a functional specialist silo structure, was never designed to do it. So let me prove it. If we overlaid that with an experience or a process, and the two are interchangeable, by the way. So to that point about the Six Sigma at the start, people will say, Steve, have you left the world of Lean Six Sigma, even though you're a master black belt and you got that from GE? Have you left that world? I go, no, everything's a process. Everything anybody does anywhere is a process. But again, some of the baggage with customer experience is that they sometimes can perceive themselves as being separate to the process thing. And the reason they would say is that although that process stuff is all old industrial age stuff, and you say it doesn't have to be. It's a pattern of behavior. It's a pattern and a way of doing things that if we connect the dots in the right way, we can take it to a new place. So here we've got a process, an experience meandering its way through the organization. So classically, if we were to put the paying customer onto this diagram, where would we normally put them? Where would they go? Yep, you're probably right. On the extreme left and the extreme right. All right. And we talk about end-to-end working. Where does that come from? Again, another factory analogy. We talk about, yeah, the people who are sort of facing off to the customer, they're in the front line, right? Well, that's a warlike analogy, isn't it? Are we fighting the customer? Are we fighting the customer? I shouldn't think we ought to be. No, they're down in the trenches. Another analogy which we've inherited. So let's think about this for a moment. We're banging the drum as the CEO of this wonderful organization and saying the customer is really important to us. It's changed so much in the last few years. We've got to focus our attention on it. And the person in operations there in the black box says, oh, I get that. I'm a customer myself. But hey, do you know in the value chain, I'm 9 steps away from the customer on the left and I'm 4 or 5 steps away from the customer on the right. So I hear what you say, but the customer's not my job, somebody else's job. The reality of that is the only reason it's not their job is the way we've drawn the chart. Now, as we've already said, the chart is a collective hallucination. What if we drew different charts where we put the customer at the